Joe Siracusa. Joe, good morning to you. Thanks so much for joining us as always. So does Joe have enough time to be able to use this momentum to carry him through to Super Tuesday, or is Bernie too far ahead?
Good morning, Pete and Laura. Yes, he's going to have enough time. I mean, Biden was on the ropes. He hadn't won anything and very few delegates. And now he's beaten his opposition by 30%. So to many people, and particularly to those who know these things in the Democratic Party, they see a two-person race between now and the nominating convention in Milwaukee in July. So, but Biden has to do well in Super Tuesday. There are over 1,700 electoral votes up, and Bernie Sanders is ready to fight. The most interesting thing about, I think, the South Carolina primary was that the Senator Warren from Massachusetts and Senator Klobuchar and Mayor Pete from South Bend didn't get any black voters. I think between the three of them, they got about 8% of the vote. So it looked like they're way out of the picture. And that guy Steyer, the billionaire, he spent over $100 million on his campaign and got goose egg. He got zero. So tells you what his guys were doing. They just didn't have an idea how to get him forward. But look, I still think the wild card here is Michael Bloomberg. Bloomberg was ready to step in a month ago because Vice President Biden wasn't looking so good. Now, if Biden's looking good, then what happens to Michael Bloomberg? Does he transfer that money to the Biden campaign? If he support Biden, I don't know how that works. So, but it looks like a two-person race right now, and I think because of their ages, and let's face it, Bernie's 78 years old, 79 in September, and Biden is 77, I think, and he'll be 78 in November. I think they're going to have to think very carefully about their running mates. I think one of them has already promised to pick up a woman as a vice president, which is a pretty smart idea. But the vice president here is very important. You know, lots of people, you know, if you go to the White House at the age of 78, 79 with that kind of pressure and having to eat you know, that food every day of your life, I mean, you're going to be dead in a couple of years anyway. So it's about sending people there who are in good health. But you know what? I think Biden did well, because I think he's bouncing off this coronavirus. You know, he looks like a very serious fellow. And you think about what's going on in Washington. They're trying to deal with the coronavirus. The world is trying to deal with the coronavirus, which looks very serious. You know, some people say it might be a 2YK kind of thing, but it's still going to be very serious. And one guy at Harvard has suggested that based on the Spanish flu of 1918, that 60 to 100 million people will die in the next year and a half. If this thing takes off. This is just a percentage, 2% of the 7.5 billion people out there. So it would be very serious stuff. And so, you know, we used to say, who do you trust with your money, or are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? That's what the Americans like to say. And so now they might be asking themselves and other people, do we trust President Trump here with getting us and navigating us through this threat from the coronavirus? And there are a lot of people who have serious doubts. In fact, he sort of made sure that his people weren't on those Sunday shows criticizing him. So he held them back from the show. A few critics got up there. And interestingly, his most severe critic is a woman professional health who is Rosenstein, the former deputy defense secretary, defense head. It's his sister. So Trump says he's being ganged up on. But look, I think Biden has come back from the dead, and we all know, you know, the Lazarus story. In America, it was Richard Nixon, and in Australia, it was John Howard. And when you come back from the dead, you're pretty tough stuff. So anyway, Biden has a long way to go, and I think he's going to do pretty well on Super Tuesday. I think Bernie might even come back too. But the trouble is that how are they going to do against the president? And they both look pretty good right now. They could probably both beat him by a couple percentage points. But the trouble with the poll today or tomorrow is it's not the first Tuesday in November. As some guy in Queensland, some famous old-timer used to say there, you know, the only poll that counts is election days. That's the one you got to look out for.
Joe, you've covered it all off there in one answer, so good talk. We'll have to catch you again next week, mate. We're out of time.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see you soon.